Okay, let's be honest, it's one of life's most common and most infuriating little mysteries, right? Why do we constantly lose our stuff? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the science behind this universal frustration and find out what is really going on inside our brains when it happens.
You know the feeling. You're all ready to walk out the door, you're probably already running late, and then, poof, they're gone. Your keys have just vanished. You just had them. And that one question can send you into a frantic 20-minute search that completely throws off your entire day.
But here is the good news. If this happens to you all the time, don't panic. It does not mean your memory is on the fritz. Psychologists call these moments cognitive failures, and they're incredibly common. I mean, up to half of all young people say they're forgetful. And what's really crucial here is that these little lapses have absolutely nothing to do with your intelligence. It's about being absent-minded, not about a lack of smarts.
So if it's not about how smart you are, what's the deal? Well, for starters, you might actually be able to blame your parents. A surprising amount of our tendency for this kind of forgetfulness is literally written into our DNA. And this is wild. Research suggests that about half of the difference in everyday forgetfulness between people comes down to genetics. That's a huge factor. It means some of us are just naturally more hardwired to misplace things. And get this, scientists have even started to pinpoint some of the culprits. One of the key players is a gene called DRD2. And no, that's not the droid from Star Wars. This gene creates a receptor for dopamine, which is a super important chemical for the cell communication that helps you remember things. And it turns out certain variations in this gene are directly linked to these harmless but oh so annoying memory lapses. But hold on, before you throw your hands up and say, well, it's just my genes, nothing I can do, it is so important to know this is not a life sentence of lost keys. Research shows that our mindset plays a huge role here. People who believe they actually have control over their memory and can improve it, well, they tend to be less forgetful. So it's not just about what you're born with, it's about the strategies you use. So when you really get down to it, losing your keys is basically because of one of two fundamental glitches in your brain's filing system. You either had a save error, which means the information never actually got recorded, or you're having a search error, where the file is in there, you just can't seem to find it. All right, let's dig into that first glitch, the save error. This is probably the most common reason we lose things, and it all comes down to the very first step of actually making a memory. That first step is called encoding. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain hitting the save button on a new piece of information, like, say, the location of your keys. This process is what moves that information into your short-term memory so you can actually use it later. So what causes this save function to fail? Honestly, it's pretty simple. A lack of attention. Your brain can't possibly store every single sight, sound, and feeling from your day. It has to be selective. So if you're distracted when you put your keys down, you're thinking about dinner, you're checking your phone, you aren't giving your brain the signal that this is important information to encode. So it's not that you forgot where you put them, it's that you never remembered in the first place. Okay, but what if you did pay attention and you still can't find your keys? Well, that brings us to our second problem, the search error. The memory's in there somewhere, but your brain's search engine is just getting all clogged up. This search failure is usually caused by something called interference. This is what happens when all the similar memories you have start competing with each other. I mean, every single time you've ever put your keys down in your life, it creates a separate little memory file. So when you try to recall the most recent one, all those old ones pop up and just create a ton of static. And this is exactly what that feels like. Okay, were the keys on the dresser like they were last Tuesday? Or maybe in your coat pocket like yesterday? The coffee table? No. Wait, by the front door? When you're always putting your keys in a different spot, you create dozens of these competing memories, and it makes it so much harder for your brain to pinpoint the one correct recent location. So now that we know the two main glitches, the save error and the search error, we can finally talk about the fixes. And the best news is that the solutions are surprisingly simple, and they directly target these two problems. It's kind of like debugging your own brain. And look how cleanly the fixes map to the glitches. To fix a save error, you just need to consciously pay attention. And to fix a search error, you need to create a single dedicated home for your keys. That one little habit cuts way down on all that memory interference we were just talking about. To solve that encoding problem, you literally have to force your brain to pay attention. And one of the most effective, if slightly silly, ways to do this is to just announce your action out loud. Saying, okay, I am putting my keys on the hook now, makes the action intentional. It forces a moment of focus. And that ensures your brain actually hits save on that memory.
Now, beyond those really targeted fixes, there are also general habits that just boost your overall brain performance. Things like getting regular exercise and making sure you get enough sleep. Both have been proven to reduce forgetfulness. And you know what? If all else fails, there is zero shame in getting a little tech help. Those little remote finders for your keychain, they work wonders.
So, the ultimate takeaway here is that constantly losing your stuff isn't a sign that you have a bad memory. It's really just a sign that you might need to adjust how you use your memory. By understanding these two glitches, encoding and retrieval, and then using simple strategies like paying attention and creating routines, you can absolutely take control and spend a lot less time searching.
Remember, the single most effective strategy is to create one dedicated spot to cut down on that memory interference. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the one home you're going to create today for your keys, your wallet, or your phone?